Today, details finally emerged of a nighttime Russian missile attack on the territory of Ukraine, which resulted in devastating damage to the Ukrainian Army and NATO forces. According to independent monitoring services, about 20 powerful explosions were recorded during this missile attack in such regions of Ukraine as Kiev, Dnepropetrovsk, Zhytomyr, and Kharkiv. Judging by the incoming information, this missile strike on the territory of Ukraine has become one of the most effective since 2022. My friends, in this video, I will tell you in detail what exactly Russian missiles destroyed last night. However, before moving on to the main topic of this video, I would first like to discuss very important news from Donbass with you. So, a few hours ago, war correspondents reported that on October 30th, the Russian army had liberated two strategically important settlements in the Kharkiv and Pokrovsk directions of the front. In particular, we are talking about such strategically important settlements as Kharkiv and Novoukranka. The first reports of the liberation of the urban-type settlement of Kharkiv, in the Pokrovsk direction of the front, appeared on the morning of October 30th. According to war correspondents, the Russian army took control of Kharkiv on October 30th, at 8 a.m. Moscow time. It is reported that this settlement was liberated by soldiers of the 114th Brigade of the Russian Army. It is reported that soldiers of this brigade have already planted Russian flags and victory banners in the central, eastern, northern, and southern parts of Kharkiv. Commenting on the liberation of Kharkiv, war correspondents noted that Russian soldiers from the 114th Brigade acted so quickly that the Ukrainian army units stopped resisting and began to flee from this settlement immediately after the Russian troops took control of the local railway station. At the same time, war correspondents note that not all Ukrainian soldiers managed to escape from Kharkiv. It is reported that as of October 31st, about 70 Ukrainian soldiers have already been captured by the Russian army. However, the bad news for the Ukrainian top military leadership did not end there. On October 30th, at 10 a.m. Moscow time, war correspondents reported that Russian troops had liberated another strategically important settlement, this time in the Kharkiv direction of the front. We are talking about the urban-type settlement of Novoukranka. It is noteworthy that numerous Ukrainian telegram channels also confirmed the transition of Novoukranka under the control of the Russian army. According to them, the rapid advance of the Russian army in this sector of the front is only part of the overall plan to surround the fairly large city of Kharkiv. By the way, after the transfer of the settlements of Novoukranka and Kharkiv under the control of Russian troops, war correspondents began to record the retreat of the Ukrainian army units from the city of Kharkiv in the direction of Constantinople. The fact is that the approach of Russian troops to Kharkiv from the eastern, southern, and northern directions does not allow the Ukrainian army units to organize an effective defense of this city. Thus, in the coming days, Kharkiv is likely to repeat the fate of such cities as Seladovo and Gornyak. Many military experts are confident that in order not to get into the cauldron, the Ukrainian army will be forced to surrender Kharkiv to the Russian troops without a fight. However, for Ukraine, the most important problem remains not the future loss of Kharkiv and even Pokrovsk, but what will happen after the Russian army liberates the entire Donbass. Many are confident that the Russian army will continue its offensive against such large industrial cities as Dnipro and Zaporizhia. Ukrainian military experts regretfully admit that, unlike the cities of Donbass, Zaporizhia and Dnipro are not adapted to conducting effective and long-term defense. Ukrainian military experts regretfully admit that if the Russian army launches an offensive on the Dnepropetrovsk and Zaporizhia regions, the remaining cities of these regions will fall within a few months. At the moment, the Kiev regime has begun to build defensive lines in the Dnepropetrovsk and Zaporizhia regions. However, many are confident that these defensive lines will not stop the advance of the Russian army, especially given the fact that most of the Zaporizhzhia region is already under the control of Russian troops. Meanwhile, as I said earlier, on October 30th, details emerged of a nighttime Russian missile attack on the territory of Ukraine, which resulted in devastating damage to the Ukrainian Army and NATO forces. It is reliably known that the armed forces of the Russian Federation launched a missile attack on military facilities in such regions of Ukraine as Kiev, Dnepropetrovsk, Zhytomyr, and Kharkiv. During this attack, Russia used dozens of cruise and ballistic missiles, including germanium kamikaze drones. So, independent monitoring services recorded at least 3 powerful explosions in the Solomensky district of the Kiev region. As it turned out, Russian ballistic missiles together with kamikaze drones hit the territory of Zhytomyr airport. This airport is one of the main logistics centers of NATO. Through this airport, NATO delivers valuable military supplies to Ukraine, including so-called foreign mercenaries. It is noteworthy that Russian ballistic missiles and kamikaze drones hit this military facility on the same day that the chief of the Norwegian Army, Major General Erik Kristoffersen, visited Kiev. It is reliably known that he arrived in Kiev to coordinate the transfer of 6 units of F-16 fighters to Ukraine. In the Dnepropetrovsk and Zhytomyr regions, Russian cruise missiles hit and destroyed 3 energy infrastructure facilities that provided electricity to Ukrainian military enterprises. And finally, in the Kharkiv region, in the western part of the city of Kharkiv, 2 Russian ballistic missiles hit the building of the military academy. According to the coordinator of the Russian underground in Ukraine, Sergei Lebedev, one of the Ukrainian Army's headquarters was located in the basement of this military academy. It is reported that at the time of the missile strike, 2 Ukrainian generals from the Security Service of Ukraine and several high-ranking NATO officers were in this headquarters. It is reported that these were US, British, and French citizens. Sergei Lebedev also said that the employees of the Security Service of Ukraine cordoned off the site of the missile strike and did not let ordinary firefighters and doctors near the wounded and dead. According to him, specialized ambulances assisted the victims. All this indicates that very important high-ranking Ukrainian and NATO officers were in this building. As of October 31st, it is reliably known about 2 dead Ukrainian generals of the Security Service of Ukraine and 5 high-ranking NATO officers from the United States, France, and Britain.